Lord, just get us through this extremely difficult time. We have a lot of local businesses here in Canby that are suffering, and we need to get them back open. And so anything that we can do to get that moved along, we'd certainly appreciate it. Amen. So, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, do we have any citizen input on non-agenda items, Lainey?
No, we do not.
Okay. Then we have no minutes to approve. No new business, I assume. So we will proceed with our public hearing. And we are going to consider a request to make a minor amendment to the city's 2010 transportation system. These amendments reflect a revised alignment for a connector road between Canby Pioneer Industrial Park and State Highway 99E, which was previously planned as an extension to Auto Road, but is proposed to be an extension of South Walnut Street. TA 20-02 2010 TSP Amendments. Tonight, there is a matter before the hearing body that requires a public hearing. All questions must be directed through the chair. Any evidence to be considered must be submitted to the hearing body for public access. All written testimony received both for and against shall be summarized by staff and presented briefly to the hearing body during the staff report. Testimony and evidence must be directed toward the applicable review criteria contained in the staff report, the comprehensive plan, or other land use regulations which the person believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue may preclude appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. At this time, I would ask that any members of the hearing body who has a conflict of interest, please indicate the nature and extent of the conflict and whether you intend to participate in or abstain from hearing the present matter.
I don't, John.
And I do not either.
Neither do I.
Okay. Jennifer, you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
No conflict here, Commissioner Taylor.
Okay. Also, if any member of the hearing body has had any ex parte contact with anyone prior to this hearing, including a visit to the site, please declare the nature and extent of such contact at this time. Okay, we have no audience, so the public hearing will be conducted as follows. First, we'll have our staff report. I assume that will be Ryan. Then questions by the commissioners. And then the applicant, not more than 5 minutes. Proponents, not more than 5 minutes. Opponents, not more than 5 minutes. And rebuttal, if any, not more than 10 minutes. And then I will close the public hearing. And then we will have questions from the commissioners. A decision shall be made by the hearing body at the close of the hearing, or the matter will be continued to a date certain in the future. This will be the only notice of that date you will receive. Any questions? Okay. Ryan, it's all yours.
Good evening, Chair Savory and Planning Commissioners. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so this item is something that we discussed at our last meeting, but when we discussed it, the Planning Commission had expressed some concern that they wanted to hear more context or maybe had some questions about the history about this item. So I'm going to run through the same presentation kind of briefly that I did last time. But the difference this time is we have some extra folks on the call, including city staff and our consulting engineer and others, our traffic consultants, that can provide additional context if you'd like any, or can help answer some questions.
Okay.
So again, this is a TSP amendment. Our existing TSP was adopted in 2010. And this is a targeted, minor, but important amendment to that document. So as you know, we've had a lot of growth in our industrial park, a range of large new businesses coming into town, and also smaller existing businesses expanding or moving to a new location. So that area of town is thriving, and we're excited about that. But of course, this means there's an increased need for a way for trucks to get from the industrial park to Highway 99E and back and forth. So our TSP actually did contemplate this. We've got a conceptual route of a connector road between the park and the highway in our TSP. However, this route is now obsolete for a variety of reasons. And the city, in conjunction with its consultant team, have refined the conceptual route for this facility, and are wanting to update the TSP to reflect that. And these considerations that have resulted in a changed alignment include engineering, environmental, and other technical considerations. These include the willingness of landowners to want this facility to travel through their property, or to be willing to sell their property to make way for it. Also, the more it's been engineered, the more that the city has realized that the original route, which was that would have connected to Auto Road, which is a small gravel road connecting from 99E, that there was a lot of topography issues there. It's actually quite steep if you drive by Auto Road on 99E. So there was a lot of topography that the new road would have either had to be, basically there would have been a lot of earth moving needed to make that alignment possible. We've also got some wetlands in that area that the facility will have to make its way around. And then, so those were the main ones. So over time, the alignment for the future facility has changed to reflect these realities. And obviously, because of the growth in the industrial park, the city has continued to pursue a connector road to aid its businesses and its industry that's growing. So this exhibit is something that was in DKS's report. It shows the previous routes that were studied. And so the red one is the one that's in our TSP right now. And so that would connect from South Malino to Auto Road. And that was really just a conceptual alignment, getting trucks from the industrial park in general out to the highway. But the yellow one is the one that reflects all these real world considerations that I spoke of. So this is one of the maps that's in our TSP now that shows the previous conceptual route of this facility connecting to Auto Road. And so the idea behind amending our TSP is affixing an amendment to the back of the TSP that basically changes these exhibits and the text to reflect this new alignment. And that's done rather than changing all these exhibits themselves, because in the next couple years, we plan to do a more comprehensive TSP update, because as you know, it's pretty outdated, and that's on our list of things that we are going to pursue in the next couple years. So there'll be a bigger update to our TSP coming. So what are the benefits of this amendment? As I spoke of, it's adopting the current alignment to reflect the new alignment that our engineer is working on. And so DKS's report, their memo, includes street classifications, truck routes, and a list of improvement projects that reflect that new alignment. And so one of the goals is just for transparency's sake, because obviously this project has changed and we want our documents to reflect that. And obviously, like a lot of projects in a TSP, they're conceptual. And so if a project moves 100 or 200 feet, that might not be a big deal and require an amendment. But the city's thinking was that this was a large enough change, even though it's already in the TSP. It's important enough of a change that we want our document to reflect the change. Perhaps most importantly, this amendment allows the city to use transportation system development charges to continue pursuing this project, whether that's acquiring land or engineering services or building it when the time comes. The amendment also memorializes coordination and planning that's gone on between the city's consultants and ODOT. As many of you know, making changes to how roads interact with a ODOT facility is a complicated process. ODOT has a strong interest in the number and location of access points on their facilities. And this new alignment reflects ODOT's goal of consolidating the number of access points on this stretch of 99. And unlike some previous iterations of this conceptual alignment, this one is pretty equally distant from the territorial and Sequoia intersections. And so in ODOT's mind, that's a plus. And then, like I mentioned before, there's no need for extensive revisions to our tables and figures in our TSP, because this memo produced by DKS will effectively update the pieces of the document that refer to the alignment in the previous location. The only thing that's really changed since last time is planning staff did get a couple calls about this item. We got a call from one of the main property owners in the area that the road would travel through. And this is someone that the city's been working with for quite a while as we've planned the overall circulation and future development of this side of town. We've also heard from the Traffic Safety Committee, and I believe there's a representative from that committee tonight that may or may not choose to speak tonight in the public comments portion, but they also were supportive of this project. So planning staff recommends that the Planning Commission advance a recommendation of approval to the City Council regarding this TSP amendment. So city staff and our consultants are happy to answer any questions you might have or give additional background if that's needed.
Okay. Are there any questions for Ryan at this particular time?
I don't have any questions, Chair Savory.
I don't either, John.
Okay, and I do not. So I'm not quite sure who all is. So Jennifer, Mr. Boatwright, Michael is here, and Jason?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Commissioner Taylor.
Okay.
And the only questions, Ryan, that I would have had for this is in regard to the timing, but I don't know that that's part of it.
That's a question about the timing of when it might be built.
Correct. We had talked a little about it before, but I don't know if it's really a part of what we're doing here as a thing.
Someone else on city staff might be able to speak to that, but this item right now is really just about updating the TSP to set us up for the future stages of engineering and acquiring property. And so I don't know that we have a ironed out schedule at this time for construction.
I noticed that in this, and I did miss the last meeting, so if I'm covering old ground, let me know. But I didn't see any reports about neighborhood meetings, meeting with people that are actually going to be directly impacted. Has that occurred yet?
No, but this also isn't a actual development project that's really coming before you about something that's going to be constructed in the near term. This is more about just a process change for our TSP. So it's really more of just a conceptual update of what we've got in our document.
Well, yeah, understood. But once we make this decision and, the people that are impacted won't have much recourse to go back and say, well, hey, wait a minute. I just wanted to make sure that, I know that we're really good about being transparent about what we do. And I applaud all concerned for that. That's really important. I just want to make sure that the neighbors and neighborhoods that are going to be impacted by this are somehow brought into the loop. Does that make sense? I mean, I just don't want to put the cart before the horse or anything like that, but it just seems to me that.
No, that makes complete sense. I think the future stages of this project will probably have additional public outreach components. I don't know if Jerry or Joe, you have any comments on this for other public projects that we've done.
Well, I guess I could. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Joseph Lindsay for the record.
Okay.
And I'm the city attorney here in Canby. I will say this and I've been a part of a couple of these, but I know that there's been numerous without me as well over the last couple of administrations. And that isn't saying too much because we've had a lot of turnover. But there have been multiple meetings with we're one of the property owners now at the where Walnut Street actually meets, where we want the road to start the alignment. But the other property owners, all of them have been in a room together talking about this very thing on more than one occasion where I've been present, if that helps.
It does. I mean, I think that from my perspective, you get people involved right away, then it protects the city, the planning commission, and you guys from people with pitchforks and torches.
Well, yes, and this was one of those where a couple of years ago, well, maybe a year and a half ago, we had some very gung-ho folks because I think they once this alignment goes through, those property owners would love to see their development concept plan for the area kind of flesh out around kind of a main arterial that I think they can rely on to then, ask for various types of property designations. So everybody there seemed to be a go with actually wanting this to kind of be at least implemented and wanted to see it get going more sooner than later. Although, to Mr. Taylor's point, we can't put, there's funding issues and stuff like that, but the hope is to get it done within the next few years.
Okay. All right.
Chair Savory, may I?
Yes, Jennifer,
So my understanding was that the reason that this one came back around and was not approved at the last meeting was primarily because Commissioner Mills, and I believe Commissioner Taylor agreed with him, is that there wasn't enough background on the decision, and there were some items in the original staff report that referred to things that we didn't have reference to. And I feel that Ryan and his team have done a good job of fleshing that out so that it's that background information is there. I agree that this is not necessarily something where we're worried about, hey, if we approve this, then this is absolutely going to happen. More that it's an amendment to the TSP, and we're just trying to ease things to make it easier for projects to be more consistent and congruent with each other. So I think at this point, what we're really trying to do is determine if this should be attached to the, an amended TSP. And I feel, for one, that the information that Ryan has provided, the additional information, is very helpful. And I think flushes out, I don't want to speak for Commissioner Mills because he isn't here, but kind of answers some of those questions that he had. I don't know if he'd like the answers or not, but based on my notes, that's what he was looking for, was some answers to some information that wasn't there.
And Commissioner Taylor, I agree with that. Thank you, Ryan, for doing this. And I think that actually, like to Jennifer's point, this is more of a procedural event. Is that correct, Ryan?
Yes, this is to update our TSP, so it's just a reflection of the activities that we've got going on in the background in planning this project. And the comments that I'm hearing right now actually made me think of another issue, which Chair Savory kind of alluded to, which was, does this facility incentivize growth that would impact people in that northeast quadrant of our UGB? And my answer to that would be, our code actually does require the property owners out there to develop a development concept plan before all that's annexed. And of course, that would have its own outreach and public meetings. And so I guess I wanted to emphasize that too, that this road doesn't involve any residential or commercial industrial development. This is really just a road project that we want reflected in our TSP, if that makes sense.
it does to me. So, Commissioner Hutchinson, do you have any comment?
No, not at all. I mean, honestly, I think that by the time we had reached the end of last week's meeting, I had a level of detail that I felt like I would have been confident voting on. I think the issue was that we just kind of didn't have it in writing before us. And so it was a little vague as to what exactly had changed. I mean, I feel like there was a little bit more elaboration on what the environmental concerns were. There's more understanding of how, the city has become a property owner at one end. And, and I can understand how people would have changing feelings over time about the amount of traffic that would be coming through their front yard, especially once they can actually see what the traffic is going to look like. And so, it all makes sense. And I really don't have any questions. I'm really comfortable with the level of detail I've been presented with, actually. And I appreciate tonight's presentation.
Great. Then I think our next step is to finalize this. And so unless there's something I'm missing here, I will entertain a motion to approve the amendments for the revised alignment for a connector road between.
Chair Savory,
Yes.
were there proponents or opponents that wanted to say anything?
I think we might have at least one.
Because
Chair Savory.
Oh,
I didn't
okay,
want to
I'm
miss out
sorry.
on them.
Pardon me. I didn't know. So are there any?
Yes. Hi.
Yes, Bob.
My name's Bob Camera. I would like to submit some testimony for supportive of this actions, if that's okay.
Yeah, move right ahead. Pardon me I didn't mean to ignore you.
No problem at all. I had earlier submitted a letter from the Canby Traffic Safety Commission. I am their secretary and are here to testify in their behalf. At our December 11th meeting of this year, we passed a motion, in effect reading that we support of the connector road between the Canby Pioneer Industrial Park and the State Highway 99, which was previously planned as the older road, but is proposed to be an extension of the South Walnut Street. The commission also supports the amending of the traffic transportation system plan to reflect this need and priority. The commission believes this project will certainly help in the flow of traffic in the Canby industrial area, and this redirected traffic flow will also have a positive impact on the community streets. Our stand on this issue is in somewhat supportive and consistent with parts of Mr. Potter's summary data that he's provided, but notably on page 2 when he talks about the comprehensive plan on point 4, where he says these changes will preserve and protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the residents of this community. He points out that by reducing the incentive for truck traffic to drive through residential areas of Canby, it would provide better separation between the modes of surface traffic, normally intra-city circulation and truck traffic, and would reduce safety issues related to the conflict between these traffic modes. So as the Traffic Safety Commission, we would like to support that the creation of this pathway because we think it's in the best interest of both the industrial area occupants and the city of Canby as a whole. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you folks. If you have any questions, I'd gladly take them.
Does any commissioner have any questions? If not, thank you very much.
I just want to say hi, Bob.
Hey, Jennifer, nice to see you here again.
You too.
Okay. Are there any other proponents that would like to speak?
Yes, I would. Chair Savory.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Steve Sieber with Trammell Crow. Good evening, Commissioner Savory and other commissioners. We've met before, all on good terms, of course. If you remember our first meeting, Columbia Distributing, and the development of that project 2 years ago, I think is when we came through in design review. And then more recently with our Baker Center, which is 25 acres across the street on Walnut, and also at the terminus of what has been discussed here, First and Walnut. That's a 3-building speculative park that we have planned, sought, and received your approval for earlier this year. And then in what we think will be sometime in early February, we will seek your approval for a 700,000-foot development at the Wygant property, which we call Canby South. So we're very interested in the efficient circulation of traffic and logistics in the park, and particularly in this connection to 99E. So just in short, we're in support of staff's recommendation here tonight. And just want to take the opportunity to encourage the city to continue your efforts and your focus on enhancing the transportation network in and around the industrial park in this area. So that'll conclude my remarks, and also happy to take any questions. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for, yes. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other proponents? Are there any opponents? Anybody that would consider themselves neutral on the matter? Okay, then I'll close the public portion of this hearing. And now we'll move to making a recommendation, a request to consider the request to make a minor amendment to the city's 2010 transportation system. And these amendments reflect the revised alignment for a connector road between the Canby Pioneer Industrial Park and State Highway 99E, and which was previously planned as an extension to Auto Road, but is proposed to be an extension of South Walnut Street. That would be TA 20-02 2010 TSP amendments. Do I have anybody that would like to?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll move to the final decision. If you'll, can't remember, it's been a long day. We need somebody to make that amendment, that proposal again.
I move that we approve the final decision on TA 20-02 2010 TSP amendments.
Do I have a second? Jennifer?
Sorry,
I second.
I said second, but go ahead.
Okay.
Michael.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. It is done. Thank you all for that. We will now move to items of interest from planning staff. Looks like our next scheduled meeting is Monday, December 28th. Is that correct, Lainey?
Actually, it will be canceled as we have no items.
We aren't going to have a virtual holiday party, New Year's party?
Well,
What
we
kind-
can do that.
What kind of commission and planning staff do we have going here? Come on. This is our opportunity to get rid of 2020, the worst year in my 70 years on this earth.
I'll send you some virtual Christmas cookies, John.
Thank you so much, Jason.
I have a fruit cake with your name on it.
Uh-oh.
And and how much I love fruitcake. Yeah. Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
I second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here this evening. Really appreciate it. And we'll just hope that everybody has a nice Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody, too.
Okay.
Night.
Thank you very much. We are adjourned.